Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. It's myself and Lead Judges again with you to talk about last night's result, which, let's be real, was an absolute superb one. 7 goals for the Arsenal, just 8 shots on target, something that we cannot say that we've replicated much this season. And I think it's up there with probably one of the games I have enjoyed this season the most. Probably only been 4 or 5 others, to be fair, this season, where we've actually scored this many goals. We've put 5 past West Ham, Palace and Sporting Lisbon, obviously Manchester City of late as well. But the last time we scored 7 goals was a very long time ago, if I'm honest with you. So, look, I've got to be real. Judges, you were there. It was what I can imagine a very surprising bunch of Arsenal fans that did not expect many goals to go in, let alone 7. I mean, the most I heard prediction-wise was a 3-1, bruv. That was the most that I heard. Everyone else said 1-0, 1-1, maybe 0-0, going to be a tough one. Heard 2-1s. Didn't hear anything more than a 3-1, and to get 7-1 was pretty outstanding. Look, I don't know where you want to start with the individual performances or team performances, but I'd like to ask you, I always see things differently to people that go to games. And if I'm honest with you, I always know that I do, because when I go to a game, I come back sometimes and I think, oh, actually, I didn't think he was that bad, but everyone else on the TV thought he was rubbish. So I want to ask you who you thought, Sean, and what you made of the performance, because I think we do need to praise the players and also Mikel Arteta here, because, you know, I said on my fan cam and I said on the show today, I personally feel like he hasn't got as much praise as perhaps he deserves, Mikel Arteta. This is the same team that didn't score against Forest and West Ham. He found a way. He picked the same side. He got a lot of criticism for picking that same side and not changing it. But I'm like myself and you and Turkish and some of the others that are a bit surprised he went with the same team again. But he allowed them to express himself. They were creative. They scored goals. They took their chances. They went for it. And I hope that that continues and we go on a bit of a run now, Judges. But what did you make of it? Who shone for you? And who would you like to highlight, bruv?
Yeah, just everybody really. I think you've got to, first of all, let's start with the manager, because you know when we don't get a result against Nottingham Forest and teams like that, people were on his back, like, you know, we should be doing better, blah 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 blah. That was an unbelievable performance. He tactically got it right. I think you have to turn around and say the way we press, the intensity of the game, the pace of it, the pace of just seemed to go up. That's what it seemed from where I was watching. I'm going to be really honest, Dan. I actually got into the ground and sat there and I thought, oh, I'm not really looking forward to this. We've got right at the back, because if you go to right at the back at PSV, you can see a little bit over the netting, like it's actually an awful view. And I thought, oh, well, I'm here now. I'll just sit down and just be bored out of my head. And within a couple of minutes, I was up off my feet. You know, when Declan Rice had that shot that went in and it was offside. And then from then on, it was just an unbelievable performance from us. Really, really top class. And I don't really know. The only one you could probably criticise was Miles Lewis-Skelly, even though that, you know, he probably should have been sent off. Well, he should have been sent off, really. It was a definite second yellow card. But he created a second goal. You know, he still played well up until that incident. And then I thought, like, Mikel got that spot on. You know, that tells you everything when a manager takes a player off after 30 minutes, that he thought that he should have probably gone. But I think, you know, the manager picked the team right, got everything right there. And then some of the players yesterday, I've got to say, were absolutely outstanding. From what I see, Martin Odegaard, I thought was back to his very, very best. Brilliant. Couple of goals. That's what happens when you shoot. Great to see him shoot and have a shot. I thought Nwaneri again, superb. Mikel Merino, that was his best game in an Arsenal shirt. Declan Rice, wow, what can I say about Declan Rice? You know what I mean? The drive and everything. I know you don't like him in that 8 role and all that, like, but he was
brilliant last night, though.
Absolutely superb. And, you know, like the cross for the first goal was brilliant, by the way. I didn't realise how good that was until I see the highlights of it. And I just think everybody played well. I think Thomas Partey probably was the only one that played his normal game and wasn't above his normal performances, if I'll be honest. Maybe the 2 central defenders played their average games. I thought Timber was brilliant at right back. I thought he was brilliant at right back. Really, really good. Raya didn't have a lot to do, but what he'd done fantastically well. But the pace of what we played, I don't think they could handle it. I couldn't handle the pace when we got the ball, the crispness of the pass. I'll get that out a second. You know, like, was unbelievable. I just felt like we were sharp to everything. When we didn't have the ball, we were sharp. Trossard's best game for a very, very long while. If I missed out anybody, Calafiori, when he came on, was brilliant. You know what I mean? Particularly with his goal. The finishing, Dan, I think we had 8 shots, didn't we, on target, 7 goals. And I don't know about you, but from where I was watching it, it looked like every time we attacked, we was going to score. And it was just all round a very, very good performance. Now, I don't know how good PSV are, but listen, I'm going to say this now, a little bit pissed off with a lot of people online and all that, like, oh, this is PSV's crap and all that, like, you know. When we
they can't say that, Lee. Let me just come in there. They can't say that because what you cannot do is, look, they were poor, by the way, but that's not the point. You cannot do 0-0, 1-1, 1-0, and then go 7-1 and go, oh, well, they're rubbish. No, hang on a minute. You thought they were going to draw 1-1 to this rubbish side or lose to this rubbish side.
Yeah,
we can't have that, man. We got to give us praise. I don't know why people aren't wanting to. Look, we don't have to say, right, I understand. You don't have to get carried away. You have to go, right, 7-1, there it is. Got to win the Champions League. That would be getting carried away, right?
No.
7-1, you've got to praise the team, bruv. You have 100%.
To. Does it mean I think Arsenal win the Champions League? No. In perspective, all it does is get us to the next round, which a lot of people didn't think that we was going to do. So from that point of view, yeah, great. But when we have a poor result against a Nottingham Forest, by the way, no one turns around and says, "Oh, they're third in the league, they're this and this and that." It's all poor Arsenal, rubbish. So when you beat a team like that, you've got to, you know, whether you think we should be winning it, expecting it or not, praise has got to be there. Like, you know, I actually was excited by that performance yesterday, the way we played and all that. I'm not going to lie, Dan, I weren't looking forward to it. I weren't looking forward to the game. You know what I mean? Like, I was expecting a 0-0. You know, this is why football's such a wonderful thing. If you'd have said to me, what do you want? What do you want the scores go? I said, I'd bite your hand off for a 0-0. Never once did I say, I'll tell you what, we'll win 5-6, 7-0 or whatever, 7-1. It was just, you know, I was in La La Land at 3-0. I couldn't believe what I was watching there. I could not believe what I was seeing, what I was watching. This is Arsenal turning it on in the knockout stage of the Champions League and destroying a team. This is a team, by the way, well, I watched them against Juventus. I was impressed with, you know, but there we are. We just absolutely smashed them. And I know a lot of Arsenal fans weren't getting tickets for this. The season ticket holders are sort of like passing up the opportunity to go to this game. They'd be glad they did for different reasons now, like, you know. It was like, because it is really officially a dead rubber now, isn't it? Like, you know, so.
Well, it's mad. I got tickets. My dad sorted it out. Bless him. He's on holiday. Big up to my mum as well. She's in the chat and she's on holiday in Tenerife, sitting on a
I've
sun.
seen that, like, you know, you're having a lovely time on that.
Yeah, I'm sure they both are. And they sorted out tickets, and I'm thinking now, bloody hell. It's going to be one of those social nights, really, now, isn't it? I mean, unless we lose 6-0, we're. I mean, at least we're comfortable going there. Because I must admit, Lee, when we got the tickets, I thought, I don't think I'm going to enjoy that. You know, this second leg is going to be painful, but the second leg now is going to be wonderful. And I've got to ask you this before we're kind of jumping ahead a bit here, so I do want to go back, but I'll ask you this while we're on it. Does he rotate for that game now, PSV? Like, not mad, play your kids, but I'm talking, does he play Zinchenko, Tierney's, Ben White's, Jorginho's, Marino's back in midfield, maybe Sterling? Does he do that now? Or does he play his strongest team?
I think with the likes of players that I think that are going to be there and thereabouts, Ben White needs minutes. So, like, Ben White definitely, like, you know, I would give Kivior a go. Rest one of the back guys, particularly maybe even Saliba, because you got they're going on international duty and whatever. Same with Gabriel. It'd be interesting what he does at left back. But you know, I'm saying this now. I think Zinchenko wouldn't mind seeing him have a start in midfield to see what he can do, because I've been impressed with his little cameos, to be fair. He's looked very, very good when he's come on.
Funny how when he doesn't need to defend, he looks a bit better.
Like, I've got to say, he looked very good in that position in the last 3 games. He's like, gives us something different. So that was good to see. I think you've got to try and get Sterling some confidence from somewhere, like, you know. But the other side of it is, Dan, is to, you know, keep this going. Look at it and just say, look, we have only got a few games in March, and we 4 games in March. So after I think we got three weeks off, or definitely 2 weeks off. And I'll just go, look, it's working, just keep it going. But like, just maybe make 1 or 2 changes. Like, I'd like to see Calafiori have a game at central defence to see what he can do there. Probably Jorginho in for Partey to see that one there. But other than that, we can't really rotate the forward momentum too much. If I was to leave someone out, I wouldn't really want to leave Nwaneri out at the moment. So it's a difficult one for me. What to do there? Like, I think the likes of Declan Rice, I'd give a night off. If I'll be honest, the work rate of that boy yesterday was sensational. Dan,
I thought he was the best player, if I'm honest.
Oh, I thought he was by far the best player. I thought Odegaard maybe just.
But he was poor in the first half. Second half, he was outstanding. First half, giving the ball away and all that when he Odegaard. But Rice was quality throughout, I thought. And Timber, I thought they were the two.
I liked Odegaard's performance yesterday, though. Like, I thought sometimes when you're giving the ball away, you're trying for it. That's what I liked about him yesterday. He was not being safe. He was being like positive.
Sometimes that's what none of them were. That was the difference. Someone said to me, well, what was the difference then? It's the same players. Well, they weren't being this passy, going backwards and forwards. They were actually going for it. It was more expressive, wasn't it? No?
It's 100% right. It was. It was more direct, more, look, not gambling, but like, what I mean, the difficult balls on. But if we get that in, we get a good chance, So I was impressed with everybody, really, like, if I'll be honest.
Why then, right? Why then? We've just worked out what the problem is then between us, right? We don't. Not a lot of people want to talk about it, and I'm not saying before everyone starts getting on it that this manager's got to go, but we've just hit the nail on the head. It's not the players don't want to express; it's they're not allowed to, right? When they're allowed to, we see what happens. So why is Mikel being so safe this season? Do you think, Lee?
I don't know if it's about being safe there. I just think that we have a problem when teams really defend with that low block against us. I really do, and I don't think that we found a way of working it out. I think yesterday, that I wouldn't say that PSV were gun ho, but they were a little bit open to try and do things. They left a lot of gaps, particularly. I don't say gaps, but more like they pushed right up to the halfway line, giving us a lot of space in behind, where a lot of teams have dropped off against us and defended from the box onwards. Do you know what I mean, Dan? We haven't been able to get in behind them and have that room. And what they've done is they've congested the space. But by where they played yesterday, we could stretch them a little bit more than what we would normally do. So I think that I wouldn't say it's a coincidence, but when teams do express them or do come with an intent, let's say that, an intent to try and play, i.e. Crystal Palace, i.e. Manchester City, i.e. PSV, what's the scores? The 4-5-1. So I don't really see too much of a difference. So that Sporting Lisbon was another one, wasn't it? Like, but if a team comes in there and plays that low block, now I'm pretty sure Manchester United will do that on Sunday, Dan. And I think that we will struggle. I think we'll struggle to break them down and find it a little bit more difficult. So I do think that it'd be interesting to see what happens. And I think now maybe these next 2 games, particularly Man United, they will sit in there in a block and we're going to have to defend hard and all that. Well, I don't want to see us finding ways to do it. So I would expect to see the same sort of team and expect to see that sort of quick passing, maybe to see if that will break down that low block. PSV maybe because they're away from home do the same so we can use it there. But I do think it's a little bit down to that, Dan. And I don't think, well, I know. He hasn't been able to work that out and break that down yet. He needs to find a way to do that. That's why a lot of people, I don't know what you feeling at this moment in time, after chat and all that, who do you want to play out of Real Madrid and Atletico? People keep saying to me, well, we're Real Madrid because they will open up, at least they'll open up. Atletico won. I get that. I absolutely get what they're saying about that.
Well, look, I'll ask that question because we'll discuss it as a chat with me and you. That's the next question I've got. It looks like we're through. I'll be amazed if we don't go through. So we've got to now ask the question. The reason I want Atletico Madrid is not because they're easier to beat. It's not because Arsenal will win the game. It's because Real Madrid are the last team I ever want at any stage in the Champions League. So I don't care whether we're in the first round, last round, or final. They are the team I'm avoiding. So if you said to me, would you like Real Madrid or I go the other team? We don't know who it is yet. Yeah, I want the other team. I don't care. Oh, but the other team's Barcelona. All right, give me Barcelona then. I don't want Real Madrid ever in this competition. We've won 14 FA Cups. They've won 14 effing Champions Leagues, mate. Yeah, there's a reason why you do not want that team. There's a reason why Liverpool cannot stand them. There's a reason why, and Liverpool better than us, by the way, yeah, in Europe. There's a reason nobody wants this team. Now, what people want, Lee, and I understand why, and I love the dream, and I wish I was more like this. I promise you I do. I imagine if we beat Real Madrid, we ain't beating Real Madrid, mate. We get there and it's like, oh, well, it's been fun. Oh, defeatist attitude. You're giving up before you. Yeah, I am. We ain't beating them, mate, over 2 legs, yeah? We are not. We might not even beat Atletico Madrid over 2 legs. But I feel like we've got more of a chance. And the reason I say I feel like we've got more of a chance is this. I know how Diego Simeone is going to play, right? And it ain't going to be pretty. And you've just said we struggle against low blocks, and he's going to be an absolute master of that. However, I fancy us over 2 legs there because I do believe that if we go and play football and Real Madrid go and play football, I know who's winning, mate. It ain't Arsenal. Yeah? Real Madrid playing football with Vinny Jr. and Mbappe and Jude Bellingham against Nwaneri, Trossard and Sterling and Marino. You don't have to be Einstein to work out who's winning that game, right? So for me, I think that we're going to be going into more of a battle against Atletico Madrid. It ain't going to be high scoring. It might not be a game where you look at and go, Christ, they've got 3 here. Well, we've got to go and score 3 now. It ain't going to be like that. Real Madrid, it might be a little bit more goals in it, I can imagine, right? But one thing I will say about Atletico Madrid and Arsenal is I actually see similar, when we're at our best, I see similar comparisons in terms of organisation at the back and in midfield. Up top, they've probably got more than us, but most teams have at the moment. And I think with everyone fit, with Saka and Martinelli back, hopefully, touch wood, fingers crossed that they are going to be, maybe we've got more of a chance against Atletico Madrid. A lot of people think that it is not going to be the case and we're out against Diva. That's fine, you know, but you can't then say, I've got a defeatist attitude for getting Real Madrid when you think we're going to lose out of both games anyway, right? So for me, I think if we've got any chance, I think we have to pick out Atletico Madrid. And I think Real Madrid are going to go through. I know it's only 2-1. It's a tough place for them to go. There's a derby and there's much more to it than just a Champions League game. But I do believe it's got to be Real Madrid. It's got to be Atletico Madrid. But what do you think? What do you think?
Do you know what? I don't know, Dan, if I'll be really honest. I haven't watched the game yet, so I'm going to watch the highlights later on tonight. But I spoke to Bill. He gave me a lift back from the station today, like, you know, and he was saying that they look a little bit vulnerable, Real Madrid defensively, like, you know. But they've got this aura about them, haven't they, like, you know? So do you know what? See what happens. I'm the end of it. We're not going to be favourites whoever we play. If I'll be honest, the only way I see us being favourites now to get to the final is if Aston Villa get through all their games and we get through all of ours. I think probably we'd be slight favourites in that. But I think we'll go into the next game. I'm not looking at Saka playing, but definitely Martinelli being available. That gives us another option, and wait and see what happens. I see what Atletico can do and everything there, you know, and they've gone to Real Madrid and we're definitely in it, and it's very, very evenly poised, you know. So if Atletico can stifle them a little bit, maybe Arsenal can. I don't know. But I think that teams will have seen that result yesterday and would have been a little bit more wow. But that's a surprise. You know, we were saying when Aston Villa won 3-1, we was all going, oh, that's a fantastic result. You know what I mean? Would have took Bruges over 2 games if it was us as well. Like, but when to hit 7, I think, wow, that's a massive statement from us. Like, you know, so. What we want is that going as deep, you know, it's a tough game. You know, Real Madrid, one thing I would say is that Real Madrid have played very, very tough games against Man City, then another 2 tough games against Atletico. Could they be a little bit jaded? I don't know, Dan. I don't know, like, you know what I mean, where we're going in it a little bit fresher. And I will say this, don't matter who you play, even yesterday, you need a little bit of luck. You know, they should have gone 1-0 up in that game with the one that hits the bar. He should score that then. And it could be a different game. You know, the sending off. If I'm not saying
Lewis-Skelly, 2-0, wasn't it? Yeah.
2-0 at the stage. I'm not saying that we wouldn't have won that game, but we might have. It might have been 2-1 or even 2-2, and we got an edgy game at the Emirates. You need a little bit of luck. We got it yesterday at the right time. You know, he goes and hits the bar, and then was it 2 minutes later we're 1-0 up. 4 minutes later we're 2-0 up. So you have to, you know, look at that and go, wow, you do need a little bit of luck. But listen, I also think we're all probably saying before the game yesterday, speaking to a lot of the fans and that, we get Real Madrid, it'll be a good game and everything like that. I don't think anybody fancied us to win against PSV. So maybe, Dan, the little bit of pressure off taking on Real Madrid wouldn't be a bad thing. I think, you know, going back to when we got to the final, we had to play them in the quarter final. We sort of written off in that really, and we ended up winning it and going through. I think if we are to go through any more rounds, we've got to rely on a defence to get us there. Clean sheets. I thought like we done okay yesterday, but there was a couple of times even PSV opened us up a little time, like, you know. So listen, I think that whoever we get, if the glamour side of me, like the football side of me, wants us to get Real Madrid. But if we're going to try and if we really dare I say, if we've really got any aspirations of winning it, then we've got to say, come on, we fancy ourselves against Atletico. I think we've got to say that, haven't we, really?
Yeah. Whoever we get is going to be mad. It's going to be hard.
It's not easy.
But what I will say is, I don't think we're in a position to be fussy when you get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Last year we got Bayern Munich. People will say, what you want is, I see people already saying, I want Atletico Madrid to win. I want Villa to beat Liverpool. I want it. They all start planning out of it. Whatever will be, will be. We'll get whoever. We do need to concentrate on ourselves. That's all we can do, Judge. Yeah. Now, if we get Real Madrid, we've got to try and enjoy it as best we can, because this is the moments that we want. We want to be in the Champions League. We want to be facing those teams. Yeah, we'd like them in the final. We'd like them in better circumstances. I'd like to have a striker to play them. That'd be nice, if I'm honest. But maybe, and I'll put this to you lastly before we move back to last night. If we went up against Real Madrid, let's say it is Real Madrid because everyone wants them, right? Our team is Raya, White, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Nwaneri through the middle. That's basically our first 11 other than Havertz. And we got Nwaneri up front instead of Havertz. Is that, oh my God, we can't beat Real Madrid because of injuries? It's not, is it? So that's our best team, Judge, other than Havertz.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we're going to Real Madrid with a depleted side here. That's if no one gets injured before then, of course.
No, we've got you know, that was a fairly strong team yesterday. Without we only had 2 players missing from that team, really. If you look at it, really, you would say Havertz and Saka. You can argue that Trossard and Martinelli. There's been times when Trossard's been preferred and whatever, like, you know. So I think from that point of view, yeah, that you still got a very, very good defence, still got a very, very good midfield. I would argue and say that our midfield is slightly better than Real Madrid's, if I'll be honest, like, you know what I mean, with what we've got. In all the other areas, I maybe even in defence, but, you know, they win it hands down with their attacking options, like, you know, so it's a tight one all the way around from there. So it'd be really interesting to see, you know, and I want to put ourselves up against these teams, Dan, and see, well, how far are we away from them, like, you know, because we could turn around and go, do you know what, we're a striker away from, or a couple of attacking players away from being as good as Real Madrid. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know this. You know, listen, they've got a wonderful, wonderful goalkeeper. They've got some fantastic footballers. You Real Madrid. And Danny Ceballos is doing very, very well in midfield whenever I watch him, So I think it'd be an intriguing game. And the other thing is, Dan, if you're going to win this competition, and you're going to have to beat the likes of Real Madrid. Now, can you beat them over one leg or two? That's another thing. So you've got to take these teams on and beat them. So I'd rather go play a team like Real Madrid and go out than lose to a PSV or a Bayern Munich or someone like that. I want us to go there and whoever it is and just really give it a real good go.
I agree. Look, judges, bit of trivia for you in the chat. Last time we scored 7 goals in the Champions League was against Slavia Prague. We scored 7 goals against 4 teams in the Premier League. Can you name those 4 teams?
7 goals against teams in the Premier League. Ooh, yeah.
4. We've won. Well, we haven't won 7-0, but we've scored 7.
I think did we beat Newcastle 7-2 or something like that?
7-3, yeah, is 1.
So that's 1 there. Everton's got to be one of them.
Everton, yeah, that's 2. You got 2 more. I'll give you a clue. One of them was at the Emirates, and Thierry Henry come back and scored in 2012. Wasn't Leeds, obviously, in the FA Cup. It was a Premier League game. I think it might have even been ruled out. It was Thierry Henry's, but it might have even been ruled out, and they said it wasn't his in the end.
Oh, yes, it took a deflection, didn't it? I do remember.
Yeah. And then the other team was at Highbury with the red currant shirt.
Was it Barnsley? No, it weren't Barnsley. Would it have been?
They've got it in the chat. They've got it in the chat now. They have. I'll tell you, it's Middlesbrough.
Middlesbrough. That's when was that the game when we was 2-0 down or something like that?
No, it was 7-0. No, it was a 7-0. So we beat Newcastle 7-3 at the Emirates.
Yeah.
Middlesbrough 7-0 at Highbury. Everton 7-0 at Highbury, which was my favourite one with Bergkamp and Vieira and all them. That was unreal. And then there's one more at the Emirates in 2012. Can you remember the team? We won 7-1. Van Persie scored. Henry scored. It got deflected and didn't count.
Wigan?
No. They're no longer in the Premier League. They're in the Championship. Northern club, you said. They're near Burnley.
Blackburn?
Yeah. Blackburn Rovers. 7-1. There we go. Well done in the chat as well, because I didn't want to say yeah or nay, because I was going to tell you. So if you said Newcastle, Blackburn, Middlesbrough, and Everton, you were correct. Scored 7 goals in those 4.
Brilliant.
Bit of trivia, right? I saw that today, and I thought, I'll ask that. See if you can. I would have probably got the majority of them. The one I did forget, funny enough, was Middlesbrough. But
Reading in the League Cup, like, is that we're just going League?
Oh yeah. That was just in the Premier League. That was just Premier League. Champions Leagues, I think we've only had the 2. We have had in the Carabao Cup or whatever it's called now, League Cup. 7-5. That game was nuts. Weren't we 4-0 down as well?
Definitely 3-0 down. Could have been 4.
I think it was 4, and then Walcott scored just before half time, 4-1, and then I'm sure we would have done.
A few people that me and went left at half time. I know that, like, I won't mention no names. You know what I mean? Like,
I can imagine, mate. 4-0 apparently. It was 4-0. Blimey. Yeah. Unbelievable. Well, there we go. There's a bit of trivia for you. Look, let's talk about it. 7 goals. But the one that everyone is talking about this morning is not Odegaard, it's not Trossard, it's not Rice, who I thought were unbelievable. 3 of them in the second half, particularly Odegaard was brilliant to watch. Great defensively. But this Ethan Nwaneri kid, mate, is special. His first touch, Lee, is exquisite. Oh. And I look at him driving forward and he just reminds me of everything that I love about football. I've got to say it. I think he's by far the best player at Arsenal right now. When I look at the actual natural ability and who gets me out of my seat, it's him. Every time he gets the ball, I'm loving it. And I do feel like every time he cuts in on that left foot, I'm doing this to get out of my seat because I feel like it's going to go in or it's going to. Do you know what I mean? He's going to actually have it's going to go towards goal. Now, I'll say this as well. As much as I like Saka and Rice on corners, I think his delivery is absolutely superb. I mean, for the first chance we had that Gabriel missed, the ball that he put in was sensational, absolute pinpoint. I think he could stand over free kicks, and I'd have faith that he'd be putting them in on time. I don't think we've got a free kick taker at Arsenal, so I think that could be a place for him. My 2 questions. Do you think he could make it at the top level? And I'm talking start for Arsenal and go on to win stuff with Arsenal. And my second thing is, if Saka comes back, what do we do with him? Does he start still somewhere else? They're my two questions, man.
Well, listen, I think the first one's a definite yes. I think, there's only one thing that's going to stop him going to the very, very top, and that's with England and internationally and with Arsenal, and that's injuries. But because what I see of him now, I just see him just being. I'll be really honest. He's better than Saka at 17. He's better than any player I've seen apart from Fabregas at that age. And Fabregas was sensational. I haven't seen anybody better than Jack Wilshere was fantastic, but not at this age.
No.
Ramsey was good at 18 before the injury. Not as good as him. Walcott went for millions, didn't he? And he's nowhere near at this level of this kid. So I'm very, very excited. Someone just put in the chat the most exciting teenager, bar Fabregas, I've seen from an attacking point of view was Nicolas Anelka.
Yeah,
I would say that. I'm getting those vibes off of him.
Yeah.
When I see Anelka, I was excited, going, "Wow, how can you be that good at that age?" And I'm looking at him now and going, "How can you be good at that age?" That ball you're saying, his first touch, I think it's 4 or 5 times now I've seen him. The ball goes 60 yards across field on the run, right, and then bring it down in one touch, and it's gone exactly where he wanted it to go. I've seen him do it about 6 times now. Like sometimes you see it, and you go, "Wow, you can do it once," and then it flies off for a throw on or whatever. Every single time he gets the ball and controls it, it's spot on. He actually miscontrolled one yesterday, and the player got nipped in and took it off him. I was surprised. His first touch is unbelievable, and I think you're right about natural ability. I think he is the best in the whole team. I think Odegaard would be the next one to him, but I think that at the end of the day, some of the skills and some of the things that he does, and he does it at pace as well, Dan.
Mate.
Slows down, moves quickly. I've been so impressed with him, and I thought yesterday, it was a big game, Dan, for us. He just steps up. He doesn't seem to bother him as well. So I think mentality-wise, he's very, very much up there as well.
He scored 8 goals now. That is absolutely ridiculous at 17. And in every competition as well, right? Because when I saw him, I thought, he's going to be a good player. Then I saw him again and I thought, actually, he could be quite special. And then he started to come into this first team. Now, I started to see him, he obviously come on against Brentford, but he didn't really get enough time at 15 to see what he could do. But he's obviously highly rated. I saw him in a game in pre-season with my dad at Juventus when it was the World Cup was on at Christmas, the winter one, and we played that pre-season friendly. And he come on with Kozia Dubry, who's now at Brighton. And I thought, those two look pretty good. But Ethan looked special. And I thought, he's looking good. Then I started to look and watch him in the youth cups and all that. And then I thought to myself, let's actually look at him now that he's playing. And in the Carabao Cup, he was head and shoulders above everybody against Bolton. He was head and shoulders above everybody against Preston. And everyone said, calm down, it's crap teams. Then he started doing it in the Premier League and he was coming on, he was lifting the crowd. Then he started to score in the Premier League, right? Now, since he's come back from injury, he's now doing it in the Champions League. Now, Saka wasn't even getting into the Arsenal substitutions at 17. We were already seeing this kid, right? At 18, and this is, and by the way, we had a much worse side then, by the way, And 17, 18, Saka started to come onto the scene, and then he started to show what he was made of. This kid's doing it more. Saka weren't scoring 8 goals in 12, 15 appearances. That's what he weren't doing. This kid is phenomenal, mate. And to answer my own last question, he stays in the team. He don't replace Saka. You don't kick him out. You don't kick Saka out. You play Saka on the right wing. You play Martinelli on the left wing and you play Ethan through the middle. If you don't want to play Ethan through the middle, then you play Ethan in the 8 with Odegaard in the midfield and you play Rice in the 6 or Partey the 6, whatever you want to do, right? That's the 2 options you got for me. He can't be dropped, Lee. You can't drop this kid.
No. He might need a rest and all that, that's for me. He comes in and plays like, I can't believe how good Nwaneri is. That he's not the best young kid in London. I can't believe that. Archie Gray got that.
That is a joke.
So,
That is a joke.
um,
But
yeah,
then this is a guy who got London Manager of the Year, Ange Postecoglou.
yeah. So,
You know,
you just, listen, Nwaneri's the best young kid in the Midlands, up north, all around the country, apart from London. Archie Gray gets that. Who, by the way, has done fantastically well at Spurs. I'm not
he
having a
has
go
done
at
well.
that. He's not in the same league as Nwaneri. Not in
No,
the
he's not.
same league. Not in the same league as Nwaneri. And I'll tell you what, I'd be very surprised if Archie Gray gets a cap before him. Like, you know what I mean? I'll be very, very surprised unless he goes to Scotland. But I am flabbergasted that Harry's not won the London. And if he doesn't win the PFA Young Player of the Year award,
Sounds gone wrong.
yeah, I will boycott. Well, we'll just lose all credibility on that night. If I'll be honest.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Let me ask you quickly about Miles Lewis-Skelly. I thought it was a second yellow. I thought he was a little bit lucky. Now, what I'll say about this is, I don't think he should stop his attitude. I don't think he should change it. I think maybe he's got to iron out some of it. I think it's part of his maturity, if I'm honest. He's got a little bit of bite in him. Ethan hasn't. He's a lot more humble, and he just seems to get on with it and do his work on the pitch. Miles Lewis-Skelly, I'm a big fan of, Judge. Big fan of, right? Do you think this is where the role models come in and help him? Because I do. I think this is where Declan Rice and Gabriel's put their arm around him. Listen, mate, you got talent. Don't get as many cards, though, because you are going to get yourself in a lot of trouble here. Because he's got red cards and yellow cards galore at the moment. Compared to how many appearances he's made, he's pretty much had a good yellow card or red card in every game, I think, that he's played in, right? So what do you make of that?
No, listen, I think that he's aggressive. And with aggressiveness, he plays on the edge. I just think it's a little bit of experience. You know, you get a booking. I thought the first one could have let him off that booking. I think the player made a meal of it and whatever. But at the end of the day, he still was drawn into it. Then you've got to learn. Then that's when you learn not to, dive in for the second one and all that. Like, you've got to be really careful about that. Like, I don't think it's a lack of discipline. I think that the first sending off that he got was because it was goal scoring opportunity against West Ham, deservedly so a booking, but that ain't a lack of discipline or he's out of control or whatever. That's he plays with that danger, I suppose. It's part of playing for Arsenal. There is risk to the play. I don't see him being ever petulant in everything there. It's fouls that he's generally going for the ball. I don't see him in any other way there. If it's for me, I would be just encouraging him to be aware of the situation and where we are in the game and whatever like that. But as far as being aggressive and on the front foot and the way you think, not a chance that you stifle that. Like keep it up and keep it going. And there's always a little players like that. I know, like it's the women's football. You got what's her name, McKay, but she's very plays on the line, left-sided defender. Very Kate McKay. She plays very much on the edge of the game. Like would you want that stopped? No. Patrick Vieira played on the edge. Roy Keane did. And I think Keown, if you took that little edge away from them, maybe not quite as good as what they should be. So I would be encouraging him to play that, but just be a bit aware of it. And I think maybe that will come with experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he's got to mature. I don't think he's got to change all with his attitude. I think he definitely understands what it's like to wear the shirt. He's grew up around it. He definitely loving his football. And he looks superb. And I must say, the combination, which, by the way, is the youngest in Champions League history now, by Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri, that is unbelievable. Two of our Hale End boys to have that record now broken is superb. But I thought it was a brilliant moment for them both and a great celebration. And something that we'll remember now for a few years. I remember Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe getting that song and everyone loved it because they both come through together. This feels a little bit more special to me because I actually do believe genuinely that both of these will make it at Arsenal. I think they'll definitely make it in football. And I knew that Smith-Rowe was going to make it in football. I never had the confidence that he'd be one of the starters for Arsenal for the future. But with these two, I actually do see them starting as our left back and our potential attacking midfielder. And, I said earlier on my channel, maybe the number 3 and the number 10 shirt are waiting for him. A lot of people said they didn't like that when they give it to Eddie and Smith Rowe. I won't mind saying I wouldn't care if they give them to these two. There's something special about them, Lee. There's something talented about these
Yeah,
two together. I can't sit there. I'm not in the same bracket as an Eddie Nketiah or a Joe Willock or a Maitland-Niles that I am with these two. These two
yeah,
I know they're gonna be special and they're gonna be around for a long time, mate. So that's that for sure. Let's do a couple of these super chats before we come to the last section to close. Cliff has said that's not the same PSV I saw against Inter Milan. Looked like a Conference League team. Didn't make it any less enjoyable though. Fans haven't had a real reason to smile in a very long time. Not going to mug myself off though. I think that's very calm and fair. I think that is. Yeah, they weren't the best. Yeah, we beat them. Didn't make it any less enjoyable. We haven't had a reason to smile for a long time, but I'm not getting carried away. I mean, that's spot on, Cliff, if I'm honest. I don't agree,
enjoy it.
disagree with any of that.
Listen, I've been hurt. The West Ham game hurt me really, like to the core. So look, I'm not bothered about PSV and their fans and whatever. Like, they were fantastic, by the way, friendly and all that. Like, I have got a buzz out of what I see yesterday, and that's what I want to see. I want to see a little bit more of it, like. But I'm not going to get carried away until I see, if we went up to Man United and done exactly the same, and then we done it against PSV, and then we come back and we do it against Fulham, and all of a sudden, like, we smash Chelsea and then we smash Real Madrid, then I might start getting carried away. But at this moment in time, listen, we've had a lot of pain. It's been a lot, I think, a painful season this year. I've not really enjoyed it as much as normal. And that's not because of winning, it's just the style of play, the way things have gone, certain refereeing decisions, blah, 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 blah. So when we get a performance like that, I am going to enjoy it. And
100%.
That's how I feel. But, not get carried away. Great super chat, that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. This last one comes in as well from Brio, and he says he makes challenges like an 8 at left back. It's logic. Do you think he's got a future at left 8 or left back, Miles Lewis-Skelly?
I think he's much. I'd like to see him in midfield. But left back certainly could be a role for him. Look, listen, he was doing all right until that the bookings and all that. Like, what I like about him is that I've not seen him ever skinned.
No,
he's like, very, very good at defending one-on-one situations. He's aggressive, gets forward. He's confident enough to play in the middle and that. And I think at the end of the day, there's two positions for him to play. Whether he develops into an unbelievable left back, that's down to Mikel. I remember Saka was playing at left back. He first come to the club, and Mikel was playing, and then he changed it. So
Gareth Bale started at left back, didn't he?
Yeah. So 100%, there could be a change, and we'll see what happens. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I think he's got potential for both, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
Look, I wanted to ask you lastly. We'll go on to Man United later in the week, but I wanted to ask you lastly on the comments Thierry Henry made. I don't know if you've seen all this, but Thierry Henry made some comments on CBS about how basically he wasn't getting carried away. He wants to see more from Arsenal. He was calling out the fact that Saka's got injuries. Why has Salah not got injuries? They both played the same amount of games. Are we looking after him like we should be? And a lot of the Arsenal fan base, I can't believe they're doing this to one of the greatest players ever played for us, but they're basically gunning for him, saying this is out of order, this guy's clueless, he's a rubbish manager, he's jealous of Mikel Arteta being a better coach than him. When all he's doing is sitting on CBS giving his opinion, I find it very, very bizarre that we get this much protection from Mikel Arteta. He basically said it's worrying to see Arsenal not create as many chances. Now, obviously, he's been put in the mud a bit because we scored 7 goals. But I think he was fair before the kickoff to say that he's worried about the lack of chances that we're creating. I don't think that's a negative thing to say. I think it's quite a factual thing to say. He obviously looks at the goal scoring situation and the fact we've been left without a striker. And then, Mika Richards asked him the question and said, would Liverpool miss Salah? And he sort of said, well, look, I ask you back to you, why is Saka getting hamstring injuries? And so all of our players are getting hamstring injuries and Liverpool's aren't. And I think he's kind of questioning that. I mean, that's a fair question. I don't think this is negative from Henry. I don't know why people believe this guy has got this hate for Arsenal now and under Arteta. I don't think he has. I think he's questioning the club when it ain't well. He's raising it to a high standard. He won everything in football. He knows what it's like to win. And people are like, well, he's nowhere near the level of coach of Arteta. I'm sure he'd agree, right? That's not what he's arguing. He's arguing why that is. I just thought it was absolute facts from Henry, and I was quite surprised by some of the fans that on X's, which, by the way, is becoming more and more toxic by the day, are all saying that this is a disgrace and stuff. And I'm thinking, what's happening here? Have I missed something?
No, I think he's got valid points, and that I would turn around and say that the only thing, and I think he should know this as well, that Salah got injured this time last season on the back of African nations, and with that, Liverpool season disintegrated. This season, Salah has had a nice 6, 7, 8 weeks off. You know, there's no coincidence that Havertz, who's not a sprinter, by the way, more sprinters are prone to hamstring injuries. I don't think he had enough rest in the summer. He's rushed back. That could be on Mikel. I felt that if you have a look at the first cut, did we really need to play? Was it Wolves we played first game of the season? I can't even remember now. Did we really need to play?
Wolves 2-0, yeah.
Did we really need to play him in that game? Well, we probably did, because if he didn't play that game, we probably wouldn't have won it. That's and we didn't really know how Wolves were going to turn out this season. But listen, it is what it is. I do think recovery has not been there for them, and I have to say that listen, this injury with Saka didn't start under Mikel. It was playing for England. Got the injury for England. Probably rushed back quicker than what he should have been. That's down to Arsenal. All the other sides of it, I'm very much agreeing with what Henry's saying. Like, come on, none of us were that confident about the game yesterday. I will say this, Dan. We've had a little bit of a running joke with Tom about Mikel Arteta song, and the last couple of games, it's been very, very hard to get that going. But I'm pretty sure that Tom had his earphones off yesterday and was hearing that lot, because they did sing it very, very loudly yesterday. And why is that? Not because Tom got out his 2 sticks and started, like cheerleading and things like that from the
conducting
from the press box. It wasn't nothing to do with that. It was because we was winning, and football fans are fickle, and none of us were happy before that game. Afterwards, we are, So, listen, I honestly felt 0-0. I put 0-0 down as my prediction. That's what I genuinely thought was going to happen yesterday. Why? Because we haven't got goals in the last few games. But I tell you what, Marino's come in now, and if you look at it, and statistics will tell you, 4 games he's played, 3 started, and 1 as a substitute. He's got 4 games, 4 appearances, 3 goals. Not a bad ratio. Now you can look at that and go like, well, he didn't score in 2 of them, but if he was to score 2 goals on Saturday at Man United, it would be 5 in 5, and people would look at that and go, wow, he's some player, he is. This Marino they've found, 5 in 5. We know it's not like that, though, Dan. Statistics don't, they cover up a lot of stuff. So, listen, I understand what Henry's saying and all that. And listen, he's got an opinion. So has Petit. So has Paul Merson. Sometimes they're not the ones that we agree with.
I do.
I do as well. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree with all 3 of them, huh?
I actually, agree with it and all that, And I look at it and I think to myself, look, at the end of it, it is what it is. I get a little bit annoyed when they go, oh, Henry's not an arse, he wants this, or Paul Merson's a Chelsea fan. I've been lucky enough to speak with all of, well, not Henry, but definitely Emmanuel and Paul. They're very, very passionate about the Arsenal. Paul Merson will tell you, once you play for the Arsenal, you're touched. You know what I mean? You can't get away from that, and I think Petit feels the same. and Henry does as well. They just want us to win. And listen, we all support the team differently, Dan. We all see it differently. Me and you see it differently, but we've still got the same passion. I think you've got as much passion as I have, and vice versa. But we see it differently at times. But that doesn't mean to say you're right and I'm wrong, and or I'm right and you're wrong. That's how you do it. I'd love to be a little bit more positive and going there, you know what I mean? But I tell you what, going there yesterday, thinking you're not going to win a game of football and then winning 7-1, I think makes it better. Makes it better. Obviously, like if you think you're going to go and beat West Ham at home and you lose, it makes it a lot worse. But, you know, some people can see Arsenal lose and still get on with their lives and not worry about it, and doesn't affect them, whatever. I'd love to be like that, but I'm not. I'm a passionate fan. I don't criticise Arsenal because I want to criticise Arsenal. I bloody criticise because I'm frustrated for whatever reason, like, you know. So listen, I think that that's how it is, and Henry for me is, you know, listen, he shouldn't get a free pass because he's a legend of the football club, by the way, if he's being unreasonable. But he's not.
Exactly that. But he's not, is he? Come on. Listen, he's not being unreasonable. Nothing he said yesterday before or after the game was out of order. Nothing he said was calling anybody out, calling anyone clowns or out of order or disgrace of the club. He's come out, he's given his opinion. Arsenal was struggling to score. That's not a disgrace. Arsenal need to kill off teams. That's not a disgrace. Arsenal might need to do better in front of goal. Arsenal might have to question why Saka's got a long-term injury alongside the likes of Havertz and all the other injuries we've got. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with it? I don't get it. But look, man, last super chats before we come to a close. This is coming in from Shane. Says, big up, guys. Started my own channel, Shane Gooner, trying to do what you boys do and loving it. Any subs or likes would be most appreciated. Make sure you head over to Shane Gooner and show him some love, people. Got to help people out. We're all starting from somewhere, and that's exactly what Shane's doing.
Good luck
with it, my bro. I hope it goes well, and we'll get over there and show some love as well. Chaitanya says, we struggle when teams put a low block in. That's where we need a clinical striker to finish those few chances that we get. When teams open up PSV, we smash them. Yeah, I agree with you, Shaitanya. This is what we need teams to. We need to find a way to get through the low block. I agree with you. He says PSV didn't use the blueprint on how to play against us with a low block. Again, agreed. And those that do, like Everton will do, like probably United will do, will start to struggle again. So that's where I'm at as well. I totally agree. But look, Champions League. My last question to you, Judge. Can Arsenal win the Champions League? Because a lot of people are saying that we can. A lot of people are saying that believing after 7-1 that we can go all the way now. I don't think we can win the league. I don't think we're strong enough. I don't think that we've got when it matters, the pressure to get us across the line. They're my reasons. But what about you?
Anything's possible. You need a little bit of luck in it, and we're going to need a lot of that. But and on heart, I don't think we're quite ready to do that in a minute. Like, you know, I think that it needs a lot going our way. We need to get Saka back and fully up fit, which I don't think is going to happen. Martinelli's got to come into some sort of form, and we've got to stay away from injuries. And you know, other teams may have a few and all that. So look, while you're in it, you've got a chance, Dan. I've got to say that, like, you know. But if I'm a betting man, you know, look, I don't think Aston Villa are going to win it, right? But it doesn't mean to say they're having a good go at it and whatever. And that's what Arsenal got to do as well, like, you know. I think there's better teams than us in it. Not many.
I agree.
Not many, but 2 or 3 that, you know. Would it be a shock Arsenal winning it? No. Would it be a surprise? Yes. I think if we had the tools up front, I honestly do think if we had a proper striker, I think we would. I think we're as good as anything. You know, we've shown that defensively and in midfield. But I do think that we just lack something up top, what other teams have got. And that, I'm afraid, will be the turning point. And we just fall short.
If you had 100 quid, who would you put it on to win the Champions League right now?
Good question. I think everybody would say Real Madrid. I'm going to say Barcelona. I would put the money.
Great shout. It's going to be an El Clasico final, in my opinion. Barcelona, I fancy him this year for the Champions League. I do, under Hansi Flick. I think Real Madrid are the ones you don't want in the league, as I said earlier, in the draw. But I just feel like Barcelona could do it this year. And that side of the draw is looking tastier than the other side. So,
terrible, like,
yeah,
so.
I fancy him. Be interesting, very interesting. It really will. But yeah, I do believe that Arsenal and Arteta found a way last night, and they deserve praise, and that's what we'll say. A lot of people saying Barcelona in the chat as well, so fair play. Listen, people, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit subscribe. Really appreciate you all putting in your super chats as well tonight. Lee, you might as well give us an update quick. How are the cats, mate?
One of the cats, the shy one, is sitting on the sofa looking. I think they just like the podcast because they seem to come out. So she's sitting on the sofa. As soon as I move, she'd jump off, but she's there. It's the last day with the cats today. Emily's back. She just, as Adam's just messaged me to see when she's going to pick them up. So I haven't seen the black one today. So she's normally the friendlier one. She might have the hump with me that I've gone away for a couple of days, and so she may be sulking, but I don't know. But yeah, the cats will be gone tomorrow, and I've thoroughly enjoyed having them here. If I'll be honest, they've been good as gold. The black one was sick over my Arsenal gloves, which I weren't happy about, but there you go. But other than that, they've been as good as gold. And I better go looking for the black one just in case she's got out or something, and I don't know about it. Like, you know what I mean? So,
well, I'm glad they're all right, mate. I'm glad they're enjoying that playpen as well.
Oh, we're not doing that. What a waste of space that is, like, you know what I mean? Waste of time.
Unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. Listen, Lee, I'll let you say bye to everyone as we go. Big up to all of you guys for being here. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. I'll be live again at 10 p.m. and me and Lee will be doing something in the week as well. So, judges, over to you, mate.
Enjoy tonight's Champions League. There's only one team at this moment in time that's guaranteed. It's not Liverpool. It's not Real Madrid. It's a team from North London. And I'll tell you what, all of a sudden, let's go Dutch. Come on out, Mark.